Hi guys and girls, just like to, before we get to the episode, we had a few audio problems for the first 20 to 23 minutes. It made Paddy and Nathan sound like they were 1930s radio for the first 20 minutes. I'm pretty sure we've sorted out the issue for the next episode, so next episode we're back to our normal crispiness. Now, enough of me, let's get back into the episode. Enjoy everyone.
Yes, my liege. At once, Imperator. Yes, my liege. At once.
Hello and welcome to Rome Time.
Welcome back.
My name's Paddy Manning. Elliot Cradle's with me.
Yeah.
And who else we got here today? We got Nathan Livette. Welcome, Nathan. Thank you for having me, guys. It's a real pleasure to finally be on the show.
Yeah. Consider yourself this, you're the luckiest boy to be the first guest on the Rome Time.
The illustrious podcast.
And you've
millions tune into every week, even though we don't put them out weekly.
Yeah, more like every other monthly, if that.
Anyway, well, we're back. We're back today for a quarantine special.
Yeah, you expect to see
nothing
more.
else to do. And we're going to talk about Marcus Terentius Varro, 116 BC to 27 BC, famous writer who wrote loads of books, and a pretty interesting guy.
Yeah, a great Roman scholar. His works were used by many various other writers throughout history. So, before we get into this, let's make sure everyone who's listening is sitting down and they're ready. As Varro said, Romanus sedendo vincet. By sitting still, the Roman wins. Whereas in this case, you'll be winning because you'll be getting the knowledge of this guy, Marcus Terentius Varro. As Paddy said, born in 116 BC, or alternatively, the year of the consulship of Gaeta and Abernus, or, less frequently, the year 638 Albia Burgundita, or the year 9885 in the Holocene calendar.
Great date.
Yep.
Be alive.
All those dates. Pick your choice. You can live by whichever one you want. I'm not quite sure what the date today would be in Alba Condita since the founding of Rome, but I said it's probably over 2000 or something.
Yeah.
Probably going to guess.
2000.
Let's quickly do some maths. 638 plus 116 was that 744. So 2,744 plus 20, 2,764. Alba Condita.
Very nice.
If I did that right.
Quick maths.
If you are really triggered by that maths, be sure to send us an email at therometime@gmail.com, where I will never read it because I hardly ever read anything on that email. But maybe this time I might actually read something. So yeah. Anyway, back to Varro.
Great. So yeah, Varro, born in Riate in Italy. Well, what is now called Riate.
Wouldn't it be Riete?
Yeah, probably Riate, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure on the pronunciations, but that's in modern day Lazio, kind of central Italy.
Yep.
Pretty nice part of the world. Hope Italy's doing alright at the moment. It's not really, but
Not the greatest time to be an Italian, but could be worse. Could be the plague of Justinian, which is probably worse. But yeah.
That's true, yeah. Lessons learned.
Oh.
So Varro wrote 74 works in more than 600 books. But there's only one that's complete, called the Res Rustica, which is an instruction on general agriculture and animal husbandry.
Mm-hmm.
Most of his works have been kind of lost to history, but there are a few others out there that are kind of pieced together.
Yeah, there's sections of a book on Latin writing, like an English textbook, but for Latin.
De lingua latina.
Yeah. Not very interesting unless you're really into Latin, which I am, but I am not. And yeah, anyway, let's before we jump into the Res Rustica, Res Rustica, let's have a look through the life of Varro himself. Varro climbed the cursus honorum from Edel to Caesar and then to Tribune the plebs, and eventually achieving the office of praetor. As a lieutenant to Pompey in 67 BCE, he took part in the war which cleared the Mediterranean of pirates, for which he won the Corona Navalis for his personal exploits. The Corona
Coronavirus.
Yeah, Corona Navalis or Coronavirus or Sea Crown, which I might start calling Corona now. Sea Crown disease. Anyway, after that he joined the civil war, where Varro sided with the Optimates, led by Gnaeus Pompey, and commanded a portion of the Optimates army during the Eder campaign in Hispania, where he eventually surrendered to Caesar after the defeat of the main army at Eder after a desertion of a large part of its forces. Where Caesar, being the generous guy, always giving change to the homeless, always pardoning people, and again here he pardoned Varro, where Varro, not really caring that he's pardoned, rejoined Pompey in Greece, but he didn't play no active part in the remainder of the civil war, where Varro returned to Rome after the Battle of Pharsalus, again ready to receive the forgiveness of Caesar himself.
And what happened to him after the Civil War?
Well, Caesar really liked this man Varro, apparently. Must have loved his books, and must have loved his poems or something. For Caesar made Varro the main librarian, or the of the great library in Rome, where he collated the Greek and Latin literature, which was for public use in Rome. And Caesar gave back some of the property which had been seized by Antony after the defeat of the Pompeians, including his estate at Casinum, outside Riete. And as a mark of gratitude to Caesar, Varro dedicated to him the second part of his Antiquities book, which unfortunately, throughout the years of history and Christian monks overwriting it with pointless stuff, has now been lost to time, along with many other stuff.
Yeah, a bit peak.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what book it was. There's this really famous book that was found in a monastery in Italy, just in the basement, rotting away. And part of it, quite bit of it had been scrubbed off, ready for being written on again by monks or copies of the Bibles or something. But anyway, it should be easy to find. But yeah, you can look that up. That's how a lot of stuff was lost, and found for that matter, because they scan a lot of old objects and they find hidden stories underneath. Anyway, that's not what we're on about here. Let's get back to Varro.
Well, it's always nice to have a tangent,
Yeah,
especially from Elliot Cranell.
Yeah, get that knowledge. Right. Anyway,
but during the second triumvirate time, featuring Mark Antony wasn't really a big fan of Varro,
no, he wasn't.
And basically banned this guy and had his books burned.
Yeah. However, through the intervention of my main man, Octavian, he regained a large portion.
Augustus.
Yes. Gaius Julius Augustus Caesar, Fili Divius, Princeps, He's probably got a million other titles. Imperator. That man. The first emperor of the Romans. Varro regained a lot of his property and his wealth, and Varro himself spent the closing years of his long and active career in seclusion, devoting himself to studying and
Banging out writing. Yeah.
Anyway, this isn't a two-man podcast.
Yeah.
There's a third man.
We'll go over to Dictionary Corner now with some nice Latin quotes from Enlevet. So today we're going to look at one quote quite fitting for the time, given that we are in a mass global epidemic. And this Latin quote goes as follows: Natura non contristatur, which means nature is not saddened. So that's just a little bit of a reminder to all the people out here that even from the Roman times, people have always been aware of nature's power and the unforgivingness and harshness that nature can have at times.
Wow. Yeah.
Very nice.
So, thank you. In Dictionary Corner, we'll come back to you in a bit. Be free to butt in if you want to ask a question, because I'm pretty sure we should be able to answer it and stuff.
Well, quite normal anyway.
Yeah. Hopefully. If not, I just make something up and then pretend I did.
Well, on the topic of epidemics then, I've got here in front of me the Antonine Plague of 165 to 180 AD, also known as the Plague of Galen, which is supposedly claimed the life of Roman Emperor Lucius Verus, who was the co-regent of Marcus Aurelius Antoninus. Could you explain any further on this epidemic of the past? Put you on the spot there.
Yeah, no. This is some.
You say it's a coronavirus special, I expect.
Oh.
High standard of knowledge with regards to historical epidemics.
Well, you say it, the Antonine Plague. I think that was one of the ones that spread through. Oh, I can't remember. I think it came up through Mesopotamia, from likely where most plagues spread from. China, India, places on the steppe, like the Black Death. That came from there. A lot of diseases kind of spring up from there, where they hit the rich like Mesopotamia region, where they get lots of people living together in close proximity, and it ends up spreading. The Roman Empire probably didn't help with the spread of this, whereas usual kingdoms separated would have slowed down the progress of disease. But it being like a empire, there's a lot of movement in between like countries of today, so it was more like to spread. The trading system across the Mediterranean would have seen carriers board ships in Tyre or Alexandria, where they'd make the trip to Rome, where it was spread through Rome, which was the greatest populated city in the world around this point. If not that, it was probably Alexandria or somewhere in Mesopotamia. But yeah. And they didn't.
I was just reading up that apparently there's sources in China that said before 166 there might have been plagues there, so it may have come from there. You might be right. Interesting stuff. Yeah.
They probably didn't exactly have the same kind of thought process as we do with the viruses these days. Probably saw it as a something that they did wrong by the gods.
Some kind of curse or something.
Yeah, something that they've done, something that they've wronged or something. Yeah. There's no. Their living conditions weren't as great as today, so it's going to spread even more likely. Well, anyway, after that sad topic, let's get back to Varro and his lovely book, The Res Rustica. Well, The Res Rustica is a six, or not six books. It's 3 massive books on agriculture, all about the different types of agriculture. The agrarian lifestyle was one that most Roman citizens of the plebeian caste wished to achieve. Those in Rome who sought to better their lives could join the legions on the promise that upon their retirement they will receive a small plot of land to farm and a state pension to live out the rest of his lives. Even Cicero himself wrote that of all things a Roman could do for a living, quote, none is better than agriculture, none more profitable, none more delightful, none more becoming to a free man, end quote.
Bring up Cicero.
Yeah, Cicero himself, lovely man, loved the farm, probably.
Yeah.
If he didn't love the farm, he loved to see other people farm. The Res Ruscia was like one of the last books that Varro wrote. He didn't begin until his 80th year, in which he was told that he must pack his baggage for departure from his life. The work Varro addressed to his wife, Sundania, who had recently purchased a farm, and the Res Ruscia was almost intended as a manual for his wife on how to look after the farm after his departation from the earth.
Sheesh.
The three books were one on agriculture, the second was on animal husbandry, and the third was on the husbandry of the steading. So, kind of looking after the farm itself instead of the planting and looking after animals and stuff like that. It's not like this manual isn't. I've been saying manual, but it's not really a manual. It's kind of like a story written from like imagining people's perspectives. Imagine it like 5 experts in a room just talking about that topic. That's essentially what this is. It's
All right.
It's almost like a party where there's a few guys and they're waiting for someone to show up, and before this guy shows up, they're talking about farming and stuff like that. So it's cast in like a form of dialogue where like each bit has its own little drama, and the names themselves of the speakers are chosen so the to suggest that the topics which they're trying to discuss. And Varro also likes to sneak in the occasional pun as well to keep things interesting within the book. It's a very harsh read, and the like reading itself is obscured by the very technical stuff within it. However, it does contain a great wealth of information.
Would any of this technical agriculture stuff still be relevant in the modern day?
Oh, yeah. Let me just scroll down to my quotes that I've got. Let me just quickly pick one.
It's always a good quote.
Here we go. This one's about where to build your steading. So like your barn, which kind of makes sense. There you go. Special care should be taken in locating the steading, to place it at the foot of a wooded hill where there are broad pastures, and so as to be exposed to the most helpful winds that blow in the region. A steading facing the east has the best situation, as he has shade in the summer and sun in the winter. If you are forced to build on a bank of a river, be careful not to let the steading face the river, as it will be extremely cold in winter and unwholesome in summer. So kind of, you want to build your steading. If you were going to build a farm somewhere, you could maybe think about some of these things. There is a lot of other important stuff in there, although there's some stuff which to me doesn't make any sense. There's one part where it's hard to make sense of what it's talking about, but it kind of sounds like it's taking like the piss of another's book. One guy kind of jokes, "This is his recipe for killing bugs. Soak a wild cucumber in water, and whenever you sprinkle the water, the bugs will not come. And again, grease your bed with ox gall and mixed vinegar." So yeah, they're kind of like. To me, it sounded like they were dissing someone else's book as can't trust that book because he says this stupid stuff kind of thing. So yeah.
Archaic life hacks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the book is often quoted by many others. Virgil himself undoubtedly derived much from Varro of the technical knowledge that Virgil displayed in his Georgics, and many of his agricultural and veterinary principes of the res rustica also appear in Pliny's Natural History. Again,
Yeah, pretty influential guy.
yeah, which again, Pliny's and Virgil's works were then again used by others in like third generation writers using Varro's original sources, but kind of like what do you call it? Watered down in a way, or the knowledge given through. Well, anyway, I think now is a good point to get Nathan to read something, because when I started reading this, the second paragraph is the most hard to read thing I've ever seen in my life. It's a
thing on
yes, that one.
the Greek people.
Yeah, where Varro cites 50 Greek authors. You'd think after saying a couple he might have given up, but no, he's saying every single one of them.
Yeah. Ooh. Just press forward.
He lists 50 Greek authors, and he
You gotta scroll up.
lists Mago of Carthage, who wrote a treatise
All the way up.
in the Punic tongue, which was so highly esteemed that the Roman Senate ordered it translated into Latin.
Second one.
But again, it's
No, this
lost to history.
Alright, so I think we got the paragraph.
Yeah, let me open it up myself and we'll go through it.
Right.
Go on, Nathan. Let's go for it. Let's see how we get on.
Here we go. Tell me when to stop at any point.
Yeah, go on.
So, those who have written various separate treatises
Treatises, yeah.
in Greek, one on one subject, another on another, are more than 50 in number. The following are those whom you can call to your aid when you wish to consider any point: Hiero of Sicily and Attalus Philometor of the philosophers, Democritus the naturalist, Xenophon the Socratic, Aristotle and Theophrastus the Peripatetics,
That's close.
Acritus the Pythagorean, and likewise the Amytholocus of Athens, Anaxipolis of Thasos, Apollodorus of Lemnos, Aristophanes of Malos, Antigonus of Syme, Agathocles of Chios.
I think that one's Agathocles. But yeah, it's close.
Yeah.
Agathocles, yeah.
You say potato, I say potato.
Alright.
Apollonius of Pergamum,
Pergamum.
Aristandrus of Athens. Right, I'm going to pass you over to Paddy now to
Go on, Paddy.
correctly pronunciate the rest.
Bacchius of Miletus, Bion of Soli, Cerastus and Cerias of Athens,
It's really hard.
Diodorus of Priene, Dion of Colophon. You're not even halfway, you know.
I know.
Diophanes of Nicaea, Epigenes of Rhodes, Euagon of Thasos, the two Euphronii, one of Athens and the other of Amphipolis. Do you reckon that's enough?
Yeah. Let's go. Let me just.
Et al.
Where were we?
Et al, yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Yeah, he could have just used an et al. It is Latin.
I know, but yeah, it's nice to hear some of these names. Like
Yeah, true.
Antigonus, Agathocles, Aristophanes, Apollodorus, Aristobacchius, Bion, all these Menestratus, Menaeus, Lysimachus, Cibulus, Euphorion, Persis, Theophilus, Dionysus. Anyway,
I bet these people never knew their names would be read aloud
no,
in the year 2020
but
by us.
yeah, some of us butchering some of them.
Yeah.
To be honest, some of them I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. The Euagon of Thasos.
Yeah.
I think that's how it's pronounced. It could be pronounced Wagon or what? I don't know. I'm not even gonna butcher it anymore. I'm just gonna leave him alone.
Where'd you go?
Yeah. I don't know why he has to write all 50 of these names out. I don't know why he couldn't just write a few of the big ones and just leave it. But he clearly, he clearly wanted to.
You probably want to show how much he loves reading.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess.
It's kind of like some people just like to talk a lot about something that they know a lot in, kind of show a bit of knowledge.
Yeah, I think I know someone like that.
Oh shit. No.
Yeah. I'll just point out that Varro. We didn't mention where he studied, did we yet?
No, I don't think so.
So I think this was when he was younger, before all this politics stuff. He studied with a guy called Antiochos of Ascalon. There's another name for you. Who was head of the academy. He was the last scholarch of the new academy, which is a college of philosophy on the outskirts of Athens. So yeah, he had a pretty sweet education, really, which is probably why he got so banging at writing. But 600 books, man.
Yeah.
Another one I saw that was supposedly quite important was this one called The 9 Books of Disciplines, which became a model for future Roman encyclopedists. He identified 9 arts which are used as organizing principles. So you have grammar, rhetoric, logic, arithmetic, geometry, astronomy, music theory, medicine, and architecture. And if you discount the last 2, which was done by later writers, these became the 7 classical liberal arts of medieval schools. The first 3 being the trivium, and the remaining 4 being the quadrivium. So yeah, pretty influential going forward.
It really did have a great impact on everything. One of the things that Varro is most famous for these days, that if you've heard of Varros, you're most likely to have heard that you could say he was the first biologist for his anticipation of microbiology and epidemiology. Sorry for butchering that to begin with. Because there's a quote within the first book where Varro says, quote, precautions must also be taken in the neighbourhoods of swamps, both for the reasons given and because there are bred certain minute creatures which cannot be seen by the eyes, which float in the air and enter the body through mouth and nose, and there cause serious diseases. End quote. So
wow.
Yeah, this is the. I'm pretty sure this is the first ever recorded, almost theory of microbiology of microorganisms that cause diseases. So yeah, there you go. This is the main part.
Topical.
Yeah. Of the reason why. Yeah, there's a. It's very. You may think for being 2,000 years old, it's kind of pointless. This is a book, but it does include some stuff useful for today. Lots about olive growing and wine growing, but he also does talk about building embankments next to rivers to stop flooding. For example, upon the Via Salaria in the district of Crostomeria, one may see banks combined with trenches to prevent the river from injuring the fields. So, to stop it from taking out the growing fields. One of my favourite parts in the book is they make a joke about the host. A quote, for not only has the egg which shows the last lap of the chariot race at the games and the circus not been taken down, but we have not even seen the other egg which usually heads the procession at dinner. So they're taking the piss off the boarding host who hasn't arrived yet. Even though some of the stuff is useful today, there are some bits which are not quite to today's taste. Where while they're talking about cattle, one of the guys says, we may assert that slave trading is a branch of agriculture if we decide to keep a gang for that purpose. So, yeah. Although in their slight defense, not defense really, but it's their the slave usage within these farms was very important to like keep them running and stuff, and stuff like that. Anyway, what else have we got in here?
You got some more stuff to talk about? Because I kind of ran out, really.
Yeah, I think No, I don't. I have one about
Whilst
dirt,
I've been-
but I'm really not going to read out an entire paragraph about dirt, really.
Yeah, maybe not.
No.
Whilst I've been sat here, I've just put my name into the Latin name generator, having taken a few short questions.
Okay.
And there is a disclaimer that says like these names are most likely not accurate and shouldn't be taken seriously. However, I am Alexander
Oh,
Atticus.
That's a pretty sick name.
I won't say.
So
Is
yeah,
Alexander even a Latin name?
well, there is the disclaimer which says
Yeah,
they're not
remember
accurate.
this, yeah.
Yeah. No. Atticus.
Yeah, so I'd like to be referred to as that from
Alexander Atticus.
So you got
Now
you're
on,
Alexander
please.
from Attica. So you're an Alexander from Greece. That's what you're saying.
yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
Isn't Attica's the area where Athens is, isn't it? That's Attica.
I'm not sure, really.
Couldn't say.
Let me quickly check that one out. Attica.
Whilst Cracknell does so, let me take you
It's the
into
peninsula
another.
where Athens is. That's Attica.
Before he interrupts me again,
Yeah, sorry.
let me take you into another look into Latin Dictionary Corner, where we're going to try brighten things up a bit.
Yeah, please do.
So just remember, in these hard times, the phrase ad meliora, which means towards better things.
Oh.
So it might be hard now, but if we all pull together, show some humanity, then together we can move towards better things.
Preach it.
As said by the famous Alexander Atticus, circa 2020
Yeah.
AD.
And I'm sure if the coronavirus itself could speak, it would probably be saying Veni Vidi Vici. Because it's not that far away. But anyway, I think that on a light
Should we wrap it
and
up
dark
there?
point, that is a good point to probably wrap this one up.
Alright, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Try not to keep.
Thanks,
these ones-
Nathan, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm sure I'll see you guys again soon.
Yeah, we were sure to get you back for another one because with the coronavirus stuff going on, something like that I have not that much time in my hands because I literally have to stay inside all day. So hopefully we'll be able to get more of these out within the next few months or this month.
Yeah.
Considering it is April the 1st, so April Fools. I didn't actually record this one, so
Yeah.
And
not
just
really.
remember, if you do run out of toilet paper, Romans used to use a sponge on a stick.
Yeah.
So feel free to give that one a whirl.
Yeah.
Or if you want to go for the Greek style, use a small stone called a pessoi, and then if you want to take it to the next level, engrave the name of your most hated person on it. So I've got a pessoi at home. It's got Nathan on it. So essentially, I'm wiping my ass with Nathan's name.
Legend.
Yeah. So anyway,
Alright, well, thanks for listening, everyone.
yeah, thank you, Nathan, for
Thanks, guys.
joining us, or shall I say, Alexander Atticus,
Thank you.
for joining us on this one. Must have been a long travel from Greece to get to here today. So, better that you go to sleep or whatever you're doing.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Wrong time.
Imperator. Yes, my liege. At once, Imperator.
Bye.